During a Senate hearing on surveillance authorities and intelligence gathering, Senator Ron Wyden questioned senior intelligence and law enforcement officials about the government's use of Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, FISA. The discussion focused on whether expanded surveillance powers have produced meaningful intelligence and whether the FBI purchases commercially available location data belonging to Americans.
Regarding Alex Peretti, is that correct?
Correct.
So immediately after the shooting and killing of Alex Peretti, Kash Patel, our FBI director, said, quote, "You cannot bring a firearm loaded with multiple magazines to any sort of protest that you want. It's that simple. You don't have the right to break the law and incite violence." I wanted to ask if you have confidence in the FBI investigation of this killing.
I do have confidence in the FBI's investigation of this incident because those agents out there are professionals. They're trained. They're going to collect the evidence. They're going to collect the interviews, and they're going to present their findings to a U.S. attorney, to a district attorney, or a grand jury.
Mr. Lyons, with regards to Renee Good, there was some reporting that came out saying that FBI agents equipped with a signed warrant prepared to document blood splatter and bullet holes in Ms. Good's SUV. They received orders to stop. The orders came supposedly from senior officials, including Kash Patel. Do you think a sufficient enough investigation is happening into the killing of Renee Good right now?
So, sir, I can't speak to that because I'm not aware of those decisions. But what I can tell you, sir, and the commitment from ICE, especially from the Office of Professional Responsibility, is we did secure those firearms. We did secure that scene properly, and we turned over our evidence to the FBI, and we're standing by at the end of their investigation, the conclusion of the outcome, to conduct our internal review at that point.
I just want to convey that there is just a huge trust gap here. I mean, just absolute zero trust in this being able to, for this administration, be able to conduct an independent investigation into these killings. And I just urge you just continue to push on this, because without that, I don't think we're going to be able to move forward. And when we see these types of statements from whether Stephen Miller, Kristi Noem, from Kash Patel and others, it is absolutely putting a black mark over anything that is happening on the ground. Mr. Lyons, were you the one that recommended the surge in Minnesota?
So, sir, Operation Metro Surge, which was
that your idea?
Metro Surge for the fraud investigation, yes, sir.
So you're the one that suggested and recommended 3,000 plus agents to go to Minnesota?
Sir, I asked for more support for the amount of protest and the amount of assault on officers. I requested more support. So
now we see Homan say that the surge is going to be stopping. Where are those ICE agents going to go next?
They'll return back to the home station, sir.
Are you going to refrain from using this type of surge tactic in other states after you've seen just the level of crisis and lack of confidence and just the chaos that it unleashed in Minnesota?
Sir, one thing for sure is there's no ICE officer or special agent that wanted that type of chaos that you referred to happen. I think going forward now, I think you see more after the conversations with officials in Minneapolis and the state of Minnesota, what partnership can look like as far as local level.
Well, what I'm asking you is about, have you learned a lesson here? That this is something, I mean, if you pull out from Minnesota, but then now you do a similar type surge, 2,000, 3,000 in another state, is that something you'd still consider after what occurred in Minnesota?
Sir, in regards to every law enforcement operation, of course we go back, we look at lessons learned, we always look back. At the end, the ownership of that is mine. So I have to go ahead and look at evaluations of what we did, what worked, what didn't work. But one thing, sir, if I could just have 1 second to say it, the problem, I believe, is the fact that, like some of the things that I brought up earlier, the agitators and the coordination on the protest side, we have no problem, Senator Kim, with people protesting. Happens all the time. But it's that coordination, like I said, when you have flyers out there instructing people how to get in between, whether it's a CBP officer or ICE officer making an arrest, that's the problem. And that's what I hope that we can help, especially with this committee and other committees, the fact that, situations like that won't happen, that people can go out there and protest. But why are we going to encourage individuals to go out there and impede and put themselves in harm's way? I think that's the lesson learned from this.
Mr. Edlow, I wanted to bring you in on this. There was an incident that happened in San Diego. Spouses of military members and veterans were going to get interviewed for green card, and they were arrested upon arrival at their interviews. Tell us what happened. Was that USCIS agents that arrested them?
No, Senator. Excuse me. No, Senator. Anyone who comes to a USCIS interview who has an outstanding want or warrant may find themselves subject to facilitated arrest in which ICE or local or state.
So you're attesting right now that all of these spouses of military members and veterans had an outstanding arrest?
Senator, I'm not aware of the specific cases you're referring to. I'm happy to talk to you.
You should come prepared to be able to talk through these.
I'm happy to talk to your staff.
But was it USCIS or was that coordinated with ICE?
Again, Senator, depending on who comes to our office and
have you ever shared with ICE details of when and where interviews for green cards and other administrative processes for interviews and immigration take place? Have you ever shared that information with ICE?
Senator, what concerns me is that in previous years, there was no communication between USCIS, ICE, and CBP.
Just asking you a question. Have you shared the location and the timing of
the location
interviews?
is at our offices, and if someone is subject to arrest or detention, we will communicate with ICE. And anyone who comes into a federal building, any federal building, should expect to be arrested if they have an outstanding want or warrant.
Mr. Lyons, in New Jersey, one 6-year-old girl was left unsupervised, wandering the streets asking for her father after ICE arrested the man while he was picking up food. I wanted to ask if you can explain this action, and can you commit to providing my office with a briefing within 30 days of what happened and took place in Morristown, New Jersey?
Sir, I don't have knowledge of that, but I do commit to you. I'll investigate that, and we'll get back to you. But just if I could just say, sir, that is not the standard that ICE goes by. We take care of children, and I'll commit to you that we'll get you that information.
Well, it certainly didn't happen in this circumstance. And again, it has left the community shaken. So I will follow up with you and get that information so we can have clarity on what happens next. With that, I yield back.
I want the chance to make sure you give your trust back to ICE that we don't do that, sir. I commit to that.
Senator Moreno.
Senator Wyden began by questioning General Hartman about the 2024 reauthorization of Section 702 of FISA, which broadened the categories of companies and individuals that could be compelled to assist the government with foreign intelligence collection. Wyden asked whether this expansion had generated any significant intelligence value. General Hartman responded that the provision was intended to improve the government's ability to collect foreign intelligence on individuals located outside the United States. When pressed about the specific impact of the expansion, Hartman declined to discuss operational details in a public setting, stating that he would prefer to address those matters during a classified session. Wyden argued that the provision was excessively broad, warning that it could potentially require assistance from anyone with access to equipment such as Wi-Fi routers, cable infrastructure, or internet servers. He criticized the measure for being added to the reauthorization legislation at the last minute and claimed that lawmakers were pressured into approving it. Wyden noted that 2 years later, the public testimony presented suggested the expanded authority had produced little demonstrated value. He urged senators to carefully scrutinize future surveillance proposals rather than automatically accepting claims that additional spying powers are urgently needed. General Hartman responded by emphasizing that the expansion did not create new authority to collect intelligence on Americans. Instead, he said it only strengthened the government's ability to gather foreign intelligence targeting individuals located outside the United States. Wyden then turned to FBI Director Kash Patel. Referring to testimony from Patel's predecessor in 2023, Wyden recalled that the FBI had previously stated it did not purchase commercial databases containing location data derived from internet advertising. He asked whether that policy remained The hearing highlighted the continuing debate over the balance between national security and privacy protections. Senator Wyden questioned whether expanded surveillance authorities and commercial data purchases are justified, while intelligence officials defended the existing legal framework as a necessary tool for collecting foreign intelligence. The exchange concluded with renewed attention on the FBI's use of commercially available data and the broader implications for Americans' privacy.